Buckle up and welcome to Musicians and Beyond, where we bring you the backstage info on the life, lyrics, and long journeys of the music industry. Last week we had David Woodcock from the UK. Honestly, it was a catastrophe from start to finish. And when you watch it and listen to it, you can't tell. But we had feedback problems because he was in the UK. We had delays. We had all kinds of things. But between the two of us, we never laughed so hard in our lives. And we fixed everything. So go to davidwoodcockmusic.com. This guy's amazing singer-songwriter. And if you watch the video, he even dances for us, which is special in itself. And speaking of special, you'll notice a new face here. This is Jerry Davila from It's Another Sunday Podcast. And he is the one who introduced us to today's guest. Jerry, how you doing?
I'm doing better than I deserve.
Why'd I know you were going to say that?
Thank you. I appreciate I'm honored to be here.
Awesome. So you do It's Another Sunday Podcast with a friend of mine that actually I've known. The other day I figured it out, for 50 years. We went to grade school together. Debbie Catalano, great girl, knows a lot about music and just a wonderful girl.
She's great. She's been with me now for I think 4 years now on the podcast, and had brought in some great guests and keep me honest and keeps the podcast flowing. And it's amazing that you've known her for 50 years and she's only 35.
Well, you're too good. You're too good, Jerry. You know what to say. And where do people find It's Another Sunday Podcast?
You can listen to our podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
I knew you were going to say that too. So, Jerry, again, thank you for introducing us to today's guest. Very special. And you know what's kind of cool? I feel special because today's guest flew in from Texas just to do this show.
Amazing.
And while he's here, he's going to check out some of the things in Boston. And let's no one better than you to introduce our guest.
We're gonna show him a good time for sure. So I discovered this guest back a number of years ago, 3, 4 maybe or so, doing research, looking for guests for our podcast, and we happened to. I'm a huge Bruce Springsteen fan, so happened to be watching some Springsteen videos, and this college guy.
Yeah.
Gets up on stage and I'm like, oh, this is going to be bad. I mean, this guy's going to try to play with Bruce Springsteen, and he killed it.
That's this guy?
He killed it. And that's this guy here.
Wow.
So we looked him up, invited him on the podcast. We've since become pretty good friends, and here he is.
Yeah, that's
Matthew Aucoin.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've seen that video actually numerous times, and we'll probably end the show, and I want to hear the whole story because I hear there's a lot of ups and downs, missing trains, catching trains.
It's a great story.
We want the whole thing. So, Matthew, welcome to Musicians and Beyond.
It is a pleasure to be here, and I couldn't be more grateful for you guys inviting me on. So, thank you so much.
It's completely our honor to have you, and Jerry, it's an honor to have you. And my wife, after 4 years of doing podcasting, is in the audience today. So thank you.
We have a live audience.
We do.
It's
great.
awesome.
Musicians,
and they are live
in front of a live audience.
Wherever you get there.
Wherever you get your favorite podcast.
Correct. So Matthew, how did you get into this whole music industry thing?
So I've always kind of had a knack for music. I was a trumpet player. I started my music journey back in 6th grade. I played the trumpet, and I was in middle school band. And then that transitioned into high school. Never really played the guitar, but had always watched Bruce Springsteen. And I think I tried guitar whenever I was a little kid, but I was like 6 or 7, and I just didn't know how to practice or anything. Like, I would be taken to a lesson, and I wouldn't know what I was doing, and then I just kind of quit. And then fast forward. At the end of my high school career, I had basically quit band, but I wanted to keep up with music, and my dad kind of encouraged me to take up piano. So I started taking piano lessons, and in my freshman year in college, my random roommate, who turned into becoming my best friend, played the guitar, and he was really good at it. And in fact, his name's Travis Walker, and he's featured on one of my songs on my new album called Kimber Lane. And that's a song that we wrote together 8 years ago in college together. And it was written at a townhouse on the street Kimber Lane. So that's where, because the song name was Hey Girl, but I didn't want to have a song named Hey Girl. So I just named it Kimber Lane. But anyway, he kind of gave me the bug to learn guitar. And so that Christmas, I got my first guitar. We would have jam sessions. I would play piano. He would play guitar. I had this little electric clavinova, and we would annoy the crap out of the people to the next door, above us, below us, everywhere, because we were just loud and playing music. So he kind of taught me the basics of guitar, and then I just kind of went from there. And then 9 months after that, I was on stage with Bruce Springsteen. So I kind of reached the pinnacle very quickly. And so then just from there, I started kind of writing a little bit and never really did anything. I didn't really know how to produce. I could write, I could play, but I didn't know how to produce or record. Or whenever I would record, it would sound like a demo or not polished. And at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, I got hooked up with my producer. His name is Matt Tipton. And we created my first album called Into the Past. And it was kind of like, I'm also a pilot. And so I kind of take my first album and I kind of compare it to a discovery flight, where it's like your first flying lesson. It's like, hey, this is what flying is all about. And you go up there, you take off, you see everything. You're like, wow, this is so cool. And then you come back down, and that's it. So that was my experience with my first album. It was like, man, this is something that I really want to learn how to be good at. And so for the next 3 years, I've focused on my songwriting, my playing, my voice, my production skills, my equipment, my studio space, just waiting for the right time to make my second album. And then that time finally came at the end of 2022. I'm sorry, the end of 2023, beginning of 2024. And then over 11 months from January through November, I was making my second album.
Which is the one that you just released,
Well,
When
yes.
I Am in Love.
When I'm in Love, yes, sir.
Yeah, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you got a lot of music experience in a short amount of time.
Yes, it's definitely been, that Springsteen moment couldn't I kind of wish it happened now, because I have music that people could listen to, and that could have been such a injection of publicity, but at the same time, it's definitely helped me to this day, even 8 years, almost 9 years later, of whenever I do come out with music, people still know, oh, that's the guy that sang with Bruce Springsteen, and they hop on. And then, sometimes guys with podcasts stumble across my video and ask me to come on their podcast. So,
and then sometimes they give those guests to us,
That's right.
and vice versa.
The thing I enjoy the most about your music is what I've seen from when you very first started with that first album to now, the progression it gets better and better and better. Not just in production, but the songwriting and the melody, the whole package.
mm-hmm.
If you go back and listen to that first song of your first album and listen to the songs on your new album, it's just in just a short period of time,
Mm-hmm.
such a huge growth. Where do you get some of the influences? Because your music doesn't sound like Bruce Springsteen.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like Matthew Aucoin, right? It's very, very original. So where do you get some of your influences?
Well, there is a lot of Bruce Springsteen influence in terms of, like Roy Bittan's piano playing, for example. That's pretty much one of the only pianists that I've listened to. And so whenever I come up with melodies now, and I listen to Springsteen songs, I'm like, man, I kind of sound like Roy playing, but I'm not comparing myself to Roy Bittan, but just the influence of style of playing, of when to come in, these little fills and stuff. Like I did all the keys and all the synthesizers and bells and stuff on my most recent album, as opposed to my first album, I did it a lot less.
Right.
And so I would say there's a lot of Springsteen influence. There's still a lot of Springsteen influence in the second album, not as much as the first album. I went through like a big Coldplay phase where, songs like Jesse, Jersey Tonight, what else? Even Brilliant Disguise, When I'm in Love, where there's all these melodies and synthesizers. I focused on a lot more pop, upbeat stuff that would be like more radio friendly. You know, Bruce has got great music, but you know, I wanted songs that could get some exposure. You know, and then once I got that, I could kind of revert back to like just my own, like slow things back down, and you know, kind of write the way that I feel like fits me more. But you still get those songs on the second half, like songs like Growing Pains, Forever, Upward Fall. That's kind of more Matthew Aucoin. But I wanted songs that could also fill an arena, like songs that you could open a show with, close a show with, have an encore. So, you know, like songs like Brilliant Disguise, that big opening, like that's a song you could open a show with. You know, if I'm playing in Jersey tonight, that could be really cool. You know, closing a show with, you know, Kimber Lane, or closing a show with When I'm in Love, or, you know, just songs like that.
We've had these discussions, Matthew and I, talking about what I think if you go on tour, you know, I could be his tour director. It's like, yeah, this is what you should open with. This should be your encore song. Yeah, and he's exactly right. It's a great a spectrum of music.
Yeah, he sure does. I mean, each song is better than the next. You don't know which one to pick as a favorite.
Absolutely.
It depends the moment.
In fact, on this album, he and I went back and forth. I was teasing him. I said, one of these songs is just pure crap. And it's not. But he was doing a poll, and I think I ended up winning that.
Yeah, Jerry, like, I love critical feedback in like the negative ways, because I know that's honest feedback, honestly. And so whenever someone has something bad to say, I listen to it more than the like, oh, it sounds great. You know, I'm like, okay.
Well, it doesn't do you any good if someone says, oh, that was the balls, and it really sucked.
Yeah, it's like, I want to get better any way that I can moving forward, you know?
Right. That's great. That's great. So you talk about your album, actually both albums. So how do people find your albums, like websites and so forth? How can they download your music?
So I'm on YouTube. Jerry's been very critical of how inactive I've been on my YouTube channel, but I've put all of my songs on my YouTube channel so they can find them there. It's also on every music platform that you listen to, like your music: Apple, Spotify, Pandora, like SoundCloud, all of them. So
okay, so to look him up, it's Matthew Aucoin, and it's Aucoin.
Correct. Just think gold coin. AU on the periodic table is gold, and then coin.
There you go.
Gold coin. Matthew Gold Coin.
And there's actually another musician. I was trying to do, and he's from Boston, Matthew Aucoin.
Yeah,
spelled the same way.
He's some orchestra conductor or something. He's some kind of composer. I found him on Twitter, and because there was a moment where people were tweeting at me, but they were accidentally tweeting the other Matthew Aucoin, and he was like, "Who the heck is this guy?" And I was like, "Dude, like, nice to meet you virtually."
Yeah, he has like 2 million followers. I was looking him up earlier, so not a bad thing if someone, you know.
Yeah, I would love to be mistaken for that Matthew Aucoin.
Yeah, and it's a completely different kind of music. So
yeah, and I listened to it because I'm like, I need to know who this Matthew Aucoin is, and he's got a lot of good music too. Yeah. Just very different, very classical or orchestral music.
Yeah. And just to summarize what he said, where all his music is that you can listen to, it is wherever you get your favorite music.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that. So, yeah, give him check him out, Matthew Aucoin, Aucoin, and do that. We talked about your album. We talked about a few songs before we started recording, and you came up with a couple that you'd like to play for the audience. So let's start with one of them, and then after we play that, I'd like you to tell me and Jerry maybe how you came up with the lyrics and about the.
Well, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk. If I explain the song beforehand, whenever you listen to it, you'll be like, oh. So I'm going to actually kind of talk about it before I play.
Dude, this is my show.
Okay.
Don't tell me how it goes.
So
no, I'm just
so a few years ago, it was actually whenever I was wrapping up my first album. A friend of mine, she was like, "You should write a funny song about me," and I was like, "I can't just write a funny song." Like I can't just write a song, you know. But Lord behold, I went home and I just wrote a song, And for the longest time, I sat on this song, and I thought Matt did a great job with a really fun instrumental for it, and I was so proud of it. But whenever I went and I wanted to include it on my album, and because I thought it could be a really good pop, it's got a little bit of. A lot of people are calling it country pop nowadays, which I don't personally. I'm like, this song is not country, but it's categorized as country pop, I guess. But it's called Jesse. I kind of updated the song recently to make it a little more mature, and in the chorus you'll hear, a Toy Story reference, like she's got a name, I'll give you a guess, it's probably tattooed on her foot, I bet. Like, how Andy and Jesse on Toy Story have their names on their boot?
Yeah.
She has a tattoo of her name on her foot, just like in Toy Story. So whenever I say, just like from you've got a friend in me, like the song, you got a friend in me. And so I'm talking about Jessie, like that's the character in the song.
And Jessie, why would she put a tattoo of her own name on her foot just in case she forgets who she is?
I guess so, because that's how Jessie is.
Okay, well,
so
let's hear Matthew Aucoin, and he's going to be playing Jessie.
all right. She's pretty simple if you ask me. Just give her a soft blanket, that is all she needs. She runs like the wind, a cowgirl indeed. You'll find her out at some South Texas beach. Yeah, she's got a name, I'll give you a guess. It's probably tattooed on her foot, I bet. Just like from you've got a friend in me. I hope you guessed her name is Jessie. And she likes to unwind with some Cabernet, then smoke a little weed at the end of the day. She'll get high around 3 a.m., but somehow works out every morning at the gym. Yeah, she's got a name, I'll give you a guess. It's probably tattooed on her foot, I bet. Just like from you've got a friend in me. I hope you guessed her name is Jessie. And I guess you'll never know what she might do next, 'cause she's the kind of girl that will never rest. I think she loves her dog more than she loves me, and has some wild obsession with Tennessee. Yeah, she's got a name, I'll give you a guess. It's probably tattooed on her foot, I bet. Just like from you've got a friend in me. I hope you guessed her name is Jessie. If you want a glass of wine, hey Jessie. If you want to smoke some weed, hey Jessie.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Aucoin with Jessie off his brand new album, When I'm in Love.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, that was great. I'm glad you explained it, because it really did paint the picture of what was going to be happening.
Right, because I didn't want to say it, like, I didn't want to wait, because people would be like, man, what the heck is this guy singing about? You know, smoking weed, getting high, like all of his stuff. But yeah.
Well, Jessie sounds like a fun girl.
Yeah, she's very funny. She's very fun.
And what an honor to have a song written about you.
Yeah.
Right?
Really. No matter how big the artist is, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
I'm going to write a song about Jerry later.
About me?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, that was great that you shared that with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I mean, everything it's on, and that's on the new album,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of my favorites. In fact, I don't think there's an album on. There's a song on the album that is not one of my favorites.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just watching him go again from the very first album to the latest one that he has out now. That everybody should pick up and listen to. It's amazing the transition, how quickly he's gotten better in a very short period of time. It takes sometimes it takes years for guys to for a musician to be as good as Matt is in just a short period of time.
Absolutely.
So, I think this is one of the best albums.
What do you attribute that to? That you're able to do it so quick? Some people try to get where you are. It takes them 20 years, 30 years just to get to the spot you are, and you've really put a lot of musical talents into a short period of time.
Well, I mean, the musicians that I had to help me do the album, like there's a guy named Hugo Lee who played all the saxophone on it. He's in Australia, wonderful musician. He has a lot of, if you look him up, he's got a lot of really good credentials. And there's this Italian guitar player who I'm going to butcher his name. It's Giacomo Pasquale. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's G. I just call him G. And so he did all the electric guitars on my album. He did such a wonderful job, with the solos and fills and like all of the texturizing that I needed done. Like, so I really can't say enough about the musicians that I had to help me get to where I wanted to go in terms of this album. And in terms of getting to where I am, it's like I got very lucky with, getting placed on some really like high-end playlists, like on Spotify, to where a lot of my music was getting exposed for a long time. And so that was awesome, like seeing the number of saves and playlist ads, like, people adding to their personal library and seeing how those numbers evened out after it was taken off, seeing that people are still listening to it like on a regular basis. I got very lucky in that regard. And I also got very lucky like with just the name of, oh, that's the guy that played on stage with Springsteen. I just got very blessed and very lucky.
Well, you're very humble, and that's a great trait about you.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Who else plays on your album?
My buddy Travis Walker. Him and I duet on a song called Kimberlane, which I already touched on. We wrote together 8 years ago. Another good friend of mine, her name is Sophia. It's now Sophia Kasu. She got married. It was Sophia Sereni, and now it's Sophia Kasu. Her and I duet. She was on my first album as well. She came back again on my last song called Forever. She did beautiful in the chorus, just kind of, I needed a female singer to kind of round out the mood that I was going for that song. And so that as well. My producer, Matt Tipton, did all the drum work and bass on the album. I did some guitars, all of the keys, harmonica. I was actually just helping him with some of his songs, doing some keys and some harmonica work this last week. And so it was really fun, just listening to his music, seeing all of it come to life, and just realizing, shoot, a lot of my vocal inspiration is how he does his songs. And so he was a big help as well.
Great. And a lot of our listeners like to know how an album is put together. You had mentioned that one of your musicians was in a different location.
Yes.
So you guys actually aren't
everywhere,
in the same room.
Worldwide. Yeah, we were never in the same room. And so, yeah, it made it kind of complicated. Like I got my guitar players in Italy and my sax players in Australia. And so, my producer, he would come over maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks for like an hour and a half or so, just to go over what I was wanting on the songs we were working on. Because, in person, the dialogue gets across way better and a lot more fluid than over text. Like, hey, at 1:02, I want it to go like this and not like this. And he's like, what? You know? So it was, we had to work through that. But yeah, you basically, you know, start just one or two songs at a time, you know, lay out the drum work, come up with like some scratch vocals, just something to where the guitar player, like the electric guitar player, can kind of go, and you can send him like a couple reference tracks of what you're trying to go for, and send like an acoustic demo of like, hey, this is what I'm going for, like influences Springsteen, Coldplay, this song specifically, and then he'll play something. And a lot of times it was just really good. And a couple of times we had him go back and, hey, like I was actually looking for something like this and not like this, and you know, just because you know they allow you to get a couple revisions done, you know, because you know it's virtual, it's all part of it, you know. And so he was very fun to work with, and it was very fun sending him like how the songs were doing after the album was made, like how well that they were doing, way better than I ever thought they were going to do that fast. And so in that regard, and then I put the keys on it, and then the vocals, once you get vocals done, you can really round out the song, because once you get the vocals done, you know, you're just filling in gaps at that point. So I say that's how a song is made, but every song was so different, and every song was slower or faster.
So not everybody's in the same room, obviously.
Never.
So you like just, do you do the entire thing yourself? Do you write for the most part all of the music?
I wrote every single song. And it's funny because so one thing that I learned from my first album to my second album was the flow of the lyrics and not rushing a line, you know, staying in time and just having a good flow. Like I left my 2023 version of Brilliant Disguise out for people to listen to, because whenever they go to the new Brilliant Disguise version on my album, they can see the difference in the vocals and how much better I did on the album version, the full album version, than the 2023 version. You know, it's just fun to see the progression in that regard. And so I would think I wrote all the lyrics, but then once I would go and start tracking the vocals, I'm like, wait, this line doesn't flow correctly. I need to come up with something else. And so I would have to, instead of just, on album one, I would have just done it and just kept it pushing. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to take my foot off the gas. I'm going to really sit on this and just come up. And oftentimes I would rewrite an entire verse or a whole new chorus. And, you know, the song Jersey Tonight was a song that was completely different. And then I ended up, it was a song called, I think, Living My Paradise or something. And then I went to New Jersey, Asbury Park. Then I got so inspired from the 3 days I was out there, I gutted that whole song and I wrote Jersey Tonight to that same instrumental.
Yeah, so you're writing everything. I understand that. And then, so if you're writing the drum part and you're sending it to another country, or the guitar parts or the keyboards or whatever, is this all done through email kind of thing?
Dropbox.
Dropboxes, yeah.
Or like in Instagram, like all of my, like I'm messaging Giacomo, my guitar player, on Instagram, and he sends me the link to all the tracks on Instagram, and I send them on iMessage to my producer Matt, and he opens up all the files, and then he plugs them in and starts messing with them. It's crazy how you can make music nowadays.
Yeah, that's what blows me away. I mean, I've always seen people in a studio, or, you know, I mean, I think COVID changed everything when people started doing things via email or Dropbox or stuff like that. But it's got to be more time consuming, I would think, because you now have to listen to what they've done, decide whether it's what you want, and then send them back suggestions or versions or whatever. So this last album, for example, the newest album that you have, I'm in Love. How long did it take to do that process? Was it weeks, months, years?
So some songs were quick, very seamless, and then some songs took 3 months. Like I would be working on a song for 3 months, and in that span I got 2 other songs done. And then I would, you know, towards the end, like August, September, October, I would listen to the songs that I had done back in February, and I would be like, wait a minute, I need to change this. I need to go back like with a fresh perspective, be like, oh, I need to re-sing this part. And my producer's like, what are you talking about? No, you don't. I'm like, trust me, yes, I do. And then he would be like, oh, now I see what you were saying. Like, just he learned to just trust me in that regard.
So I've been very honored and lucky. He has sent me clips from time to time, and I'll give him my honest opinion. And
We know you will, Jerry.
Yes, and I think I told him a couple times. Oh, his producer probably hates me because
Jerry. I appreciated Jerry's like because there were songs where he was like, yeah, you know, like at least until the final product was done. You know, I would send him like little snippets, and you know, his feedback. There was times where I knew it's like, okay, this just isn't his favorite song, which I'm totally okay with. Like, no one's not gonna like every single song. Like, as an artist, you can't be like sensitive to like, okay, not every person's gonna like every song on your album. Like, you can say that you do, but obviously, like, there's just like a couple that you might actually enjoy. And so, but amongst those comments, there were things that I picked out where I'm like, okay, he's got a good point here. I should really think about this, because you know, there's only, you know, some people. I like casual listeners, because that's the majority of people. Like, if you're a computer wizard and you show like another computer wizard this really cool computer program that you came up with that's super like high tech and like technological and advanced, that computer wizard's going to be like, oh yeah, this is amazing. But then you put a guy like me and you show me, I'm going to be like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah, you know. And so casual listeners, I really appreciate their feedback more than other musicians. So
cool. Well, with all this talk about music, I'd love to hear another song. I would love to hear one of my favorites on your new album is Perfect Match, if you can play that for us. This is Matthew Aucoin with Perfect Match.
Right. If I mess this up, I apologize.
We have the ability to cut things out.
All right, cool.
Matthew Aucoin with Perfect Match.
All right. This is a song that I'm actually glad that I'm playing this one, because I thought, arranged differently, this could be a really good country song with like some harmonica added in. I wish I would have brought my harmonica, because it would have fit nicely with the song. But yeah, this is called Perfect Match. Never thought you and I would say goodbye. I say I'm fine, but it's all a lie. All the tears we shed, I'm still drowning in my head. From butterflies every time I heard you talk, to nothing but silence taking on walks. Just echoes of vain coming down through the rain. Tied me down, my anchor of gold. The chain is broke, now our bed is cold. Tonight where we used to go, I'm eating alone. Like back on the cold December night, looking at the light skating on the ice. Now you talk like a knife, you cut me not once but twice. What did I do? What did I do? I remember all the nights we had. There's a lonely key under the mat. Tell me, was it me? Was it just one thing? You tore the lock off the latch, burned right through the perfect match. Was time with you, after everything you and I have been through. But the little mom was too much for you, and a painful scar at the corner bar. I laid that night with only regret. I never thought you would ever do me like that. Well, nice to meet you, I guess. You left me in such a mess. What did I do? What did I do? I remember all the nights we had. There's a lonely key under the mat. Was it me? Was it just one thing? You tore the lock off the latch, burned right through the perfect match.
That was Matthew Aucoin with Perfect Match. We are Musicians and Beyond. Make sure you go on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Follow him, follow us. Tell us about
Yeah. So again, with doing our podcast, it's another Sunday podcast.
Yes.
I was doing research for guests, and our podcast is anything and everything. It's a wide range. You've been on it with both your music and with your jewelry company. So all sorts of topics that we do. We stay away from politics and religion. So I said, no, music is good. I just happen to be going through a bunch of Bruce Springsteen. I'm a huge Springsteen fan myself.
Yeah, we know that.
And this video popped up with this guy in a red shirt that came out of the audience with this big ego, and I said, this is gonna be funny because I've seen videos of people going on stage with Bruce and gonna make a fool of himself. He doesn't know how to sing it, and he went up there and could have been part of the band. He knew right down to the move.
It was unbelievable.
It's incredible.
Do you know how many times I've watched that video? It's like amazing. I knew about that video and have seen that video before you had introduced me to that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's had millions of views. And the story that goes along leading up to him actually getting on stage is unbelievable. Like, there's so many ups and downs and twists and turns and missing this and catching that. Matthew.
Yeah.
Let's
Matt or Matthew.
We're like this now. You're
It's
Matt.
half and half, yeah.
If you could tell the audience, tell us the whole story, how this happened. I know it was a very important thing for you because it was a bonding experience with you and your dad.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. Yeah. So my dad turned me on to Bruce back whenever I was just a kid, without going too far into it. But back in 2008 was my first show. And I got hooked on Bruce ever since I saw him live for the first time. And instead of my dad taking me to Bruce, it became me taking my dad to Bruce,
Excellent.
And so in 2016, he had always had these epic shows in Philly, New York, Boston, Jersey. And I wanted to experience one of those shows. And so I knew he was coming to Philadelphia, and I was in college. It was my sophomore year of college, and it worked out that it was on a Friday night or a Saturday night or something, to where I didn't miss school. And I got the idea of making a sign from a guy named Tom England, and he did the same thing with Bruce, and he did a really good job. But because it was in Philadelphia, it didn't get the amount of publicity that it did. And he came up with, he made a sign that said, "Can I work on the highway with the E Street Band?" And Bruce was he grabbed his sign, and long story short, he brought Tom England up on stage, and they played Working on a Highway. And I was like, man, that looks so cool. I want to do that. But I was like, I don't want to do Working on a Highway. And so I knew that he's done duets with No Surrender before. On his 2009 DVD at Hyde Park, he brought Brian Fallon from Gaslight Anthem on stage, and they duet No Surrender. So in my head, I know the parts of a duet for No Surrender. So the day before we left, I went to Walmart, bought a poster, bought the letters, and I traced them to make them look all nice and neat, and I shaded them with different Sharpie. I said, can a college kid play No Surrender with You? And to prove that I knew the song, I've been playing for 9 months. It's not like I've been playing for years, I was like, okay, verse, like, D, A, G. Okay, those are the 3 main chords. And then, and then I had a verse section, a chorus section, a bridge section, and I put capo 3, And so
all on the sign.
All on the sign. And so, because I didn't want Bruce to think, oh, I'm just some guy that is just looking to clown around on stage. Like, that was to solidify and validate, okay, I can play guitar and I know the chords, so at least he knows that much. And so we had a red-eye flight at like 5 a.m. to go to Philadelphia. I'm on like 2 hours of sleep. We get to this hotel, and back then the lottery, like the way you got into the pit was you had a general admission ticket, and up until 5 o'clock, you're handed out a wristband, and it's like a randomized lottery procedure. And I'm on Twitter. At the time, it's Twitter. Now it's X. But I was on Twitter, and I'm like, man, all these, like, the line looks so super long. Dad, we gotta go. It's like 2:30, and my dad's like, oh, great, like, the things I do for my kid. Like, I know my dad would rather just sit in a seat and enjoy the show. But he was a trooper, and he went with me, and he stood the whole time. Luckily for him, he was given a very good show. So we go, and we don't know how to get to Citizens Bank Park, but there's these other college kids that are getting on a subway. We're like, hey, how do you get to Citizens Bank Park? And they're like, oh, just follow us. We're on the same subway. And I'm like, okay. So we get on the subway. It's going for like 15 minutes, and all of a sudden it stops, and it, like, the lights shut off or whatever, and the driver comes, and he's like, what are y'all doing on this subway? Like, the subway's out of service now. So we were going in the opposite direction of Citizens Bank Park, and I'm like, great. So we got delayed like 20 minutes. We get to Citizens Bank Park, we get our wristband, and they cap the wristbands at 1,500. And we were 1306 and 1307. So we had about 200 people like left before they capped them. So then at 5 o'clock, my dad's feeling good. He's feeling, he calls it Pat luck, because his name's Pat. He's like, anytime you pull into a restaurant and there's a front row spot, he's like, oh, Pat luck, pulls right in. He's like, I'm feeling good. Like, it's going to be 1,300 or it's going to be 1,200 or something. He was feeling really good. They pull the number, it's 1224 or something. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So for those that don't know, 1224 is the first person. Whoever has the wristband 1224 gets to go into the arena first and have the first dibs on where they want to stand at the front of the stage. Because back then you could put your arms on the stage. Now there's like a 2 or 3 foot buffer, And so we were like the 75th or 80th like person in Citizens Bank Park. That's a huge place. And we could have easily been like in the very back, and Bruce would have never seen it. But getting on that wrong subway proved critical, because had we gotten on the right subway, we would have been maybe 1,100, And so I think those college kids, whoever they are, man, and they were kind of clowning me too. Like, they were like, you think you're going to get on stage? And I'm like, hey man, you never know. I also had signs for like racing in the street, like I had all these other like Plan B, Plan C signs. Like, I was one of those guys. But and so once we knew we were going to be up close, my dad's like, I think you're going to get on stage. And I'm like, Dad, don't even get my hopes up. And I actually bumped into Tom England, the guy that got on stage for Working on a Highway, and I was like talking to him, and his one word of advice was, only throw it up one time at the most opportune moment, because he'll see it once. And I mean, I don't know how educated he was on like signs and all that, but I'm like, well, hey, it worked for him, so I'm going to try the same thing. Perfect. And so I found the opportunity at the end of Rosalita. He was right in front of me, and I just threw it up. And on the video, it starts right at that moment, and the rest you can pretty much watch. And At the beginning, Bruce is just kind of like looking at everything, and I'm pretty sure he was looking at the chords, like, oh, like he was just kind of like processing, like, oh man, like this guy can play. And then he looks at my dad. I guess he knew he was my dad somehow, but he was like, can he play? Can he play? Like you'll see on the video, he's mouthing some words, and he was saying, can he play? And my dad had no idea if I could play it. I've never played it for him, but my dad's like, he can play it. He can play it. He can play it.
Even if he
And so Bruce was kind of looked at Stevie, and he grabbed my sign, and I hopped up on stage, and I was just like, oh, here we go. It's go time. And so he handed me the guitar, and we just played. I was just up there like, here we go. And so it was cool. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have you play No Surrender, but to our listeners and viewers, I mean, you gotta see this video because everything was in sync. Like, I honestly, when I watched it, I'm like, there's no way that kid just got up there. Like, they practiced this like multiple times before. Every swing, I mean, everything was in sync.
That's exactly what I thought. I said, this has got to be a staged thing that he's doing.
Everyone thought it was staged. And what I tell them is, I wish it was staged. Because that means I've got connect with Bruce. I talked with Bruce.
Yeah. Bruce looks over to his other band members, and he's like,
yeah,
giving the nod of approval. Like, this kid is good. And at the end, he actually yells out to the crowd, this kid was good.
He actually changed the lyric.
Oh yeah,
the songs.
Yeah, so the lyric, out on the street tonight, lights growing dim. I want to sleep beneath peaceful skies in my lover's bed with a wide open country in my eyes. But in the moment, I was like, a wide open country in Philly tonight. But I pointed out to the audience, and the whole crowd was like, yeah.
They did. They went bananas. Dude, you were like an instant rock star. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was probably the best moment of my entire life, to be completely honest with you. That was,
Well, there's more to come, I'm sure. I mean, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, like.
You might as well start with going on stage with Bruce. So, Matthew Aucoin, this has been like awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Will you just end the show for us and play No Surrender? What has
Alrighty.
kind of gotten you like famous overnight?
Okay.
It was great. So, ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Aucoin, make sure you follow him on all the social media. Give us a follow. I want to thank Jerry Davila for coming in from It's Another Sunday podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Aucoin with Bruce Springsteen.
All right, I'm running through the chords right quick, making sure I can remember the song. All right, here we go. Got the speaker. Well, we busted out of class, had to get away from those fools. We learned more from a 3-minute record than we ever learned in school. Tonight I hear a neighborhood drummer sound, and you feel my heart begin to pound. You're sick and tired, and you just want to close your eyes and follow your dreams down. We made a promise, we swore we'd always remember. No retreat, baby, no surrender. Blood brothers on that stormy night with a vow to defend. No retreat, baby, no surrender. And now young faces grow sad and old, and hearts of fire they grow cold. We swore blood brothers against the wind. I'm ready to grow young again. And hear sister's voice calling us home across the open yards. Well, maybe we could cut some place of our own with these drums and these guitars. We made a promise, we swore we'd always remember. No retreat, baby, no surrender. Blood brothers on that stormy night with a vow to defend. No retreat, baby, no surrender. La 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 the street tonight. The lights are growing dim, the walls of my room are closing in. There's a war outside still raging, setting eyes and more wind. I wanna sleep beneath peaceful skies in my lover's bed, with a wide open country in Philly tonight, with these romantic dreams in my head. 'Cause we made a promise, we swore we'd always remember. No retreat, baby, no surrender. Blood brothers on that stormy night with a vow to defend. No retreat, baby, no surrender. No retreat, baby, no surrender.
Well, as Bruce Springsteen said, that kid's good.
It was good.
He was good.
Yeah.
So, we really appreciate you flying in from Texas to Boston just to come on our show, Musicians and Beyond. Please support your local musicians. Check out Matthew Aucoin's Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Again, it's Matthew Aucoin, Aucoin.
Yes.
And download his music, support these local musicians, and find out where he's going to be playing, and tell him you heard about him on Musicians and Beyond.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's supporting your independent musicians and bands is incredibly important now, more than ever. And you guys do a great job doing that. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Are you kidding me? This has been an honor to be sitting next to the guru of
The honor
of
is
podcasts.
the honor is all mine, and I appreciate it. And Matthew, thank you.
Yeah, this has been awesome, and I'm glad my wife was able to sit in along with all these other people out there.
Awesome.
So thank you for watching and listening. And Matthew, we like to think that people come in as a acquaintance or and leave as a friend. So I want to thank you for coming in and being our friend.
Absolutely. Yeah, this
time.
was an honor to come. I'm glad that I did it. I appreciate you supplying a guitar, so I don't have to trust United Airlines with my luggage, throwing it in the cargo hold.
Absolutely.
So,
and we want to
so
thank Dane and Maeve. They can actually make us look and sound pretty good behind the curtain.
Yes.
So Dane and Maeve at WinCam Studios, thank you for all you do. Matthew Aucoin, Jerry Davila, thank you for watching.